Hello from scenic North Carolina. This is my first ever Linux review, and today I'll be reviewing KDE Neon 5.7.3. Before I begin and get into the review, I'd like to give a little history on my experience with Linux. About 5 to 7 years ago, around the time of Vista, I was just totally frustrated with Vista and had tried Linux several times. The current hardware I had then didn't play well with Linux, and I would run into issues either with Wi-Fi or audio or video. And anyway, long story short, wound up going to Windows 7. Really enjoyed Windows 7. It was a good OS, fast, trouble-free for Windows. And long story short, Windows 8 came along, and I think that was a poor choice by Microsoft. And so now today we have Windows 10. My family's all running Windows 10. My children have Windows 10 on their systems. My wife has Windows 10 on her laptop. And Windows 10 has its own issues. The updates can break things. The updates can take forever. I've seen updates cause video card issues, slowdowns, etc. So that drove me to, on my new laptop, to go ahead and experiment with Linux again. I know Linux has come a long way, and what I'm seeing today is just very impressive. So quickly, the current system I have KDE Neon loaded on is a Dell Inspiron 14 laptop with an SSD drive, so it's fast, with 8 gigs of RAM. The beauty of the Dell system is that everything is Intel. So every distro that I've tried over the last 2 months has loaded up and run just right out of the box. Video drivers, sound drivers, Wi-Fi, just really, really nice. Even the printer. You can plug in the HP printer, no need to install a large driver package or a crazy amount of software just to get your printer running. So way to go, Linux. Alright, so with that all said, we'll jump into KDE Neon 5.7.3. Now, I'm a huge fan of what I'm seeing so far, and I've been testing this over the last 3 days. Over the last 3 days, the system has been rock solid stable, which is important because I use this for work. I've tried several other distros. As I said, I love to distro hop. It's a fault, but it's fun. And I've tried several other distros, OpenSUSE, several good aspects to that. Just not a big RPM fan as far as getting things installed, getting things working. But again, very nice distro. I guess I back and forth with Fedora. There are some forks of Fedora which are very nice. But again, run into a few little issues with Fedora, RPM based, and just have issues. So I settled on and ran for a period of a couple of weeks Ubuntu Mate 16.04, which is what KDE Neon is based off of. So Ubuntu Mate is an awesome OS. For a beginner, I think they could jump right in. I think if my wife ever decided to switch to Linux, that would be the first distro that I would put onto her system. Ease of use. However, I would, from time to time, run into glitches and stability issues that weren't huge, but they were enough to give me pause. And I am a desktop user, so while Mate is fine for that, there's aspects to it that I don't know. I just felt like KDE, I needed to give it a shot. Plasma 5 is doing, I think, some really cool things for a desktop user. And so what you'll see here today, to me, is the best desktop experience you're going to find on Linux. Now, the base of the system being Ubuntu, long-term support, say that fast 5 times. So I think you've got a stable base. The other really big benefit, I think, to KDE Neon is it's such a light distro. It came in just over 900 megabyte, loaded it up off of a flash drive. And what I like about that is it allows you to really build your system. I installed Chromium. There were no games until I installed a game. Under graphics, I believe the only software they had loaded there was GwenView. Under Internet, you had Firefox and Kmail. No, I take that back. Kmail wasn't even loaded. Oddly enough, Kmail was not loaded. I installed that. Under Multimedia, the only thing pre-installed was VLC. So I've added a few things there. There was no Office app installed, which is fine by me because every distro that you will try out there will come with LibreOffice. And while that's a perfectly good Office suite, it's a very nice Office suite, I've enjoyed WPS. So was able to install that and didn't have a lot of other software to remove. I installed Evolution. I like that as a mail client, so I installed that. So I really like the choice here of building your system up from KDE Neon as what works for you. A lot of distros will throw the kitchen sink in and you've got tons of software that you'll never use. So if you're the type of person that likes to kind of start with a clean slate and build off of that, I think this is definitely a distro you need to take a look at. I'll equate it to flashing a custom ROM on your Android phone. You get rid of all the bloat that the carrier has put on that phone. You're able to start from scratch, build in your apps that work for you, and you get a much better experience for that. And I kind of get the feeling that that's what KDE Neon is doing here. So want to talk about customization. I've got this slightly themed here. These icons that you see in the taskbar are not standard. That is from the theme. I left the icons standard intact instead of using the theme icons so that you could see the built-in icons. KDE has done just so many things to allow you to customize. So if you're the type of person who likes to get in and tinker and really tweak it to make it work for you or to give it the look you want to give it, it's all there. So many things that you can go in and do. Let's just start with the taskbar. So if you want to change the taskbar, you can take it down to the bottom, to the left, top, to the right. You can adjust the height. Look at that. So slick. So you can adjust the height. You can add widgets and spacers to the taskbar. And to my surprise, I used to have issues back in the day with KDE 4 when I would tinker around with the taskbar. I would find that I would accidentally delete something or I would add something and it would really screw up the taskbar. And so far, none of those issues with KDE 5. It's very easy to go in and change that taskbar and add and remove icons and set it up for you. So very good there. The other thing that I'm impressed with is the menu launcher. So here is the menu launcher that I prefer, which is a very straightforward menu system. Very easy, kind of like Windows 7. And then they give you alternatives. You have the application launcher, which is more of your traditional KDE launcher. I'm not crazy about this because typically you're sliding up and down and it's just an extra step. But KDE is really providing choice, and I'm kind of coming around to the application dashboard. And you'll see that it's similar to what you'll see in GNOME or GNOME 3. So if that is a desktop that you are familiar with, you'll recognize this in the layout. So you've got a favorites to the left here, so I can go in and add different programs to favorites. You can go into recent applications. Everything is categorized, alphabetized. You've got log out, reboot, shut down, all built in. Nice job. I'm going to switch back over. Oops, wrong choice. I'll switch back over to application menu. Very nice, clean look. And you've got favorites that you can add here. So really quick access to log out, reboot, and shut down. So nice job, KDE team. But now the customization gets much deeper than that. So you can go into settings, system settings, and from there you'll see the system-wide menu. And again, very straightforward. Nicely done, KDE team. You've got appearance, workspace, personalization, network, hardware, all laid out very easy to understand. So if you want to go in and theme the system, immediately you'll see you have built-in Breeze and Breeze Dark. And while these are both very nice themes, other distros add more themes than what you see here. But again, KDE Neon is after a light distro that allows you to build it up as you see fit. So with that all said, you can go in and download themes. So you would choose desktop theme. As you can see here, I've added several themes. I've got Papyrus here, which does have an icon theme that you could change. I just wanted everyone to see the default built-in icons. But you want to add a theme, you simply choose Get New Theme. It'll pop up your window for online theme access. You can change your cursor, your splash screen. You can go in and change desktop behavior. So if you wanted to add desktop effects or control what happens with screen edges when you drag windows, it's all there, folks. It really is a system that allows you to customize and tweak just about everything from the cursor to your window title bars. So these are actually smaller than the standard KDE. I'm going to say it's smaller by maybe 5 points, and so it'll shrink down your close menu, your maximize, minimize menu. So with that all said, you've got plasma widgets. So you can simply click on the little pop-up desktop menu here and drag over widgets. And I remember having issues with most of the widgets in KDE 4, and it seems like so far with most of the widgets I have tried, they all seem to work fairly well. I haven't noticed system slowdown or any weird behavior using a widget. It's amazing how large you can make a clock. Anyway, enough of that. But the widgets are nice, just another way to customize. Now, as I said earlier, I use this system for business. Now, it's very nice today because you can back everything up into the cloud, which I have everything stored in the cloud for work. So the ability to switch from one distro to the other is so much easier today than it was 5-10 years ago. However, you've got to have a stable system. The last thing you want to occur is you're in the middle of a document, important document or important email, and you have some weird system crash or something to that effect. And so far, as I said, it's only been 3 days, knock on wood. So far, this system has just been rock solid. It's fast, it's smooth, it does not feel heavy. And I know that KDE has a reputation for being a heavy desktop, but folks, I'm telling you, give this a try. You'll be amazed at how light it actually feels. And so from the business aspect, I want to point out, to me, one of the things that makes KDE 5 such an enjoyable system from a business aspect, from a desktop aspect, and that is the file manager, which is Dolphin, built in. And I'm not sure what KDE has done to Dolphin, if anything. I haven't messed around with Dolphin on other distros enough to know, but all I know is that this is the nicest file manager of any OS, and that goes for Windows. Don't have a lot of experience with Mac, just not a Mac person, nothing against it, but as far as I'm concerned, this is it. And I would just like to point out the stock icons here. Just beautiful work, crisp, clean, modern looking. And then to the left here, you've got a places. So I can go in quickly if I want to add videos or whatever. Let's go ahead and add templates to places. So now I have quick access here. If I want to remove that, I can simply remove it. Recently saved, today, yesterday. So you have a calendar hierarchy, if you will, that you can quickly access the files from yesterday. You can do a quick search for documents, images. Well, you can do a search here under Find, but here, if you pull up documents, you'll show all of your documents you've been working on. Here you'll go to images. You'll pull in all images located wherever on your system, whether that is a cloud synced folder or a flash drive. It'll show your images from anything that has access to your system or is loaded onto your system. Same with audio and video. So nicely done there. Another thing about the file manager that just, all right, so maybe it's just the kid in me or whatever, but I mean, I love this. Look at this. Now, literally, obscene, yes. Crazy, yes. But I love it. It's awesome. So, there's times when I'm leaning back in my chair, maybe I want my folders to be larger. Here we go. So, nicely done. Split screen, easy access. Lots of control here. And I know, I get it, I understand that there are people today who, they don't want all this control. They just want a clean, simple interface, and I get it, I understand it, but from a business standpoint, this makes sense. But you can go in and customize so much. I've noticed in a lot of file managers in Linux, for whatever reason, when you right-click on a folder, you get moved to trash. And I'm not sure if it's an option on all file managers or not, but in KDE Dolphin, you have an option to go ahead and choose delete. And then you get a whole host of other menus. So you've got actions here where you can send as. I've got InSync set up for work, compress. So lots of activities and things that you can do to your files and folders. Again, I think it's the best file manager in Linux today. My opinion, humble opinion, but if you haven't tried KDE 5, I think this is a big reason to take a look at it from a business standpoint. All right, with that said, some other things to get into would be just the overall feel when you're working with software. The overall feel is you've got access to the software you need. It's easy to obtain. Whether that is because it's based off of Ubuntu, whether that is a Snap app, or whether that is a app that you install from the App Store. I call it App Store, whatever you want to call it. This is not the best selection of apps that I have seen in a distro. Ubuntu Mate had what they call Software Boutique, and I'm sure you could install that here, but this is somewhat limited. You can go in and do a search. You have categories. If you go to categories, you're going to see a layout of various softwares, and you can do a quick search. But again, not everything is there. Chromium is there. You've got access to Synaptic, because this is an Ubuntu-based distribution. You've got access to Synaptic, which just opens up the world to just about whatever you want as far as software, if you can find the repository for it. Very easy to use, very easy to install and uninstall software. Excuse me. So if you've used Ubuntu or any form of Linux Mint or anything like that, you're familiar with Synaptic Package Manager. So I'm going to sum it up here, and there's a lot more to discuss. Just show a few more things here. Click on the clock and you have calendar. It's easy to go in and set up. Everyone wants to set up a 24-hour time. and I understand that, but it's easy to change here. You can go into digital clock settings. If you want 24-hour, you can do that. You can show the date, which I have set up here, which is nice. Bold text if you like. We'll apply that. There you go. So again, lots of customization there. They've done a really nice job too with networks. You've got more access, I'll say, here than you had in KDE 4, and more access here, I think, in a more intuitive way than you see in other desktop managers. So quickly, if I wanted to go to airplane mode, I could do that. You know, you've got a clipboard here, which will collect essentially everything you're doing. Again, for quick adjustment of settings for audio, things like that. Very nice. Quick access to a calendar. So very nice job. So far, very stable. From a business use standpoint, I'm going to give it an A, without a doubt. Are there some things that you could improve? Yes. I mean, the calculator, you know, I'm using the GNOME or GNOME calculator. It's just a better app. Little things like that. There's nothing huge here that would make me say, oh, I've got to switch back to Ubuntu Mate because of. I haven't found anything there. And in fact, the more I use it, the more I appreciate the thought that's gone into KDE 5. I think by the time we get to KDE 6, we're on 5.7.3. We may be on 5.8 soon. But I think by the time we get to KDE 6, you're going to have, if they continue at the pace and continue with innovation, I think you're going to have a desktop experience that rivals everything out there today. So again, my humble opinion, nothing against GNOME or GNOME, nothing against Cinnamon, Mate, any of the other desktops that I see out there. I just don't think that right now there are any that are as polished as KDE 5, and I think by the time we get to version 6, it's just going to be the desktop choice for a lot of Linux users. So I hope this helps. Sorry for the lengthy review. It was my first review, and I had really too much to say. But at any rate, give it a try. It's a quick download. It's under a gigabyte. One thing to add. From the KDE Neon website, they have a program recommended that you use to create your USB flash drive if you are going to go that route. I recommend not using that. I tried it, and 2 times it failed. So I wound up using a Windows, but I know, hate to say it, wound up using a Windows-based creator that did a better job. So just fair warning, could be my system, could be something I was doing wrong, but food for thought. All right, folks, that does it, and hope this helps out there. Talk to you later.